I've always believed that the most devastating moments in life arrive without fanfare. No dramatic music, no storm clouds gathering overhead, just the ordinary sound of your key turning in the lock after another mundane Tuesday at the office. That's exactly how it happened the night my carefully constructed world began its spectacular collapse. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The house felt different the moment I stepped inside. Not wrong, exactly, but charged with an electricity that made the hair on my arms stand up. I could hear Paula's voice from the dining room, pitched higher than usual, carrying that particular strain she got when things weren't going according to her meticulously planned script. "Henry, is that you?" she called out, but there was something forced about the casualness in her tone. I hung my jacket on the hook by the door and loosened my tie. After 15 years of managing commercial real estate leases, I'd developed a sixth sense for when people were hiding something. The same instinct that helped me spot lies in rental applications was now screaming that something was very, very off. "Yeah, it's me," I called back, walking toward the dining room. "Sorry I'm late. The Henderson property deal ran longer than—" I stopped in the doorway. A woman I'd never seen before sat at our dining table, her hands folded calmly in front of her. She was around Paula's age, maybe a year or two younger, with short auburn hair and the kind of composed expression that suggested she was exactly where she intended to be. Paula stood behind her own chair, gripping its back so tightly her knuckles had gone white. "Who is she?" Paula demanded, her eyes darting between me and the stranger. "Are you sleeping with her? Henry, I swear to God, if you're having an affair—" I stayed silent, studying the scene. The woman at the table looked up at me with calm, intelligent eyes. There was something almost serene about her presence, like she was sitting in the eye of a hurricane while chaos swirled around her. "My name is Marina Cross," the woman said, her voice steady and clear. "I believe you know my husband, Evan." The color drained from Paula's face. Marina reached into her purse and pulled out a phone. Not her own, I realized, but one with a cracked screen and a distinctive purple case that I'd seen Paula use for what she called her work emergencies. She placed it on the table and slid it toward Paula. "I think you should see what's on here," Marina said quietly. Paula's hands shook as she picked up the phone. I watched her face as she scrolled through whatever was displayed on the screen. Her expression shifted from confusion to recognition to absolute horror in the span of maybe 10 seconds. "It's not what it looks like," she screamed, the phone clattering to the floor. "I can explain everything. This is all taken out of context." She whirled toward me, tears streaming down her face, her carefully applied makeup beginning to smudge. "Henry, please, you have to let me explain. This it's not what you think. Evan and I, we were just—" "The conversation is over," I said quietly. Those were the first words I'd spoken since discovering Marina Cross in my dining room, and they seemed to hit Paula like a physical blow. She staggered backward, still gripping the chair. "What do you mean it's over?" she whispered. "Henry, we can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can—" "I said the conversation is over, Paula." Marina stood up, smoothing down her skirt with the same calm efficiency she'd displayed since I'd walked in. She looked at me with what might have been approval. "I should be going," she said. "I think I've accomplished what I came here to do." She walked past Paula, who seemed frozen in place, and paused next to me in the doorway. "My lawyer will be in touch with yours tomorrow," she said quietly, just loud enough for Paula to hear. "I believe we have quite a bit to discuss." After Marina left, Paula turned to me with desperate eyes. "Henry, please. We need to talk about this. We need to figure out how to handle this situation." I picked up the phone from where she'd dropped it and scrolled through the messages. Screenshots of text conversations filled with explicit language and detailed plans for secret meetings. Calendar invites for business trips that lined up perfectly with Paula's unexplained absences. Photos that left absolutely nothing to the imagination. "Handle the situation?" I repeated, still scrolling. "Paula, the situation has already been handled." "What do you mean?" I looked up at her tear-streaked face and felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger, exactly. Something more calculating. "I mean, I've known about Evan for 3 months," I said calmly. "I hired a private investigator in August. I've had copies of all of this for weeks." Paula's mouth fell open. "You... what?" "I moved our joint savings into an account with just my name on it last Friday. I've already spoken to a divorce attorney. And as of this afternoon, I've sent copies of your expense reports from your little getaway weekends to PharmaCorp's HR department." Oh, the transformation in Paula's face was remarkable. The tears stopped, the desperate pleading expression vanished, and something much uglier took its place. "You bastard," she hissed. "You self-righteous, pathetic little man. Do you have any idea what you've done? Do you know what this could do to my career?" "I'm starting to get an idea," I said. "You can't just destroy my life because you're too boring to keep a wife interested." I set the phone down on the table and looked at her for a long moment. Paula had always been beautiful, the kind of woman who turned heads when she walked into a room, but standing there in our dining room, her face twisted with rage and desperation, she looked like a stranger. "I'm not destroying your life, Paula," I said quietly. "I'm just making sure you can't destroy mine." The next morning, I woke up alone for the first time in 15 years. Paula had spent the night in the guest room, and I could hear her on the phone through the thin walls, her voice alternating between frantic whispers and barely controlled shouts. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through my own phone. Marina Cross had sent me a text at 6:47 a.m. "Thank you for last night. I think we make a good team." There was something deeply satisfying about that message. For months, I'd felt like I was drowning in Paula's lies, gasping for air every time I discovered another piece of evidence of her affair. But now, for the first time since this whole mess started, I felt like I was back in control. My phone rang. The caller ID showed my office number. "Henry Dalton." "Henry, it's Randy." My assistant's voice was unusually excited. "You need to get in here. There's some woman from PharmaCorp calling every 5 minutes asking for you. She sounds pretty upset." I smiled. "Tell her I'm in meetings all morning. Take a message." "Already did. 3 times. She keeps saying it's urgent and something about a misunderstanding with some documents." "I'm sure it is urgent," I said. "Keep taking messages." After I hung up, Paula appeared in the kitchen doorway. She was still wearing yesterday's clothes, and her hair was disheveled. She looked like she hadn't slept at all. "We need to talk," she said. "I told you last night." "Henry, please." She sat down across from me, and I could see the dark circles under her eyes. "I know you're angry. I know you have every right to be angry. But we can't let this spiral out of control." Define out of control. "I got a call from HR this morning. They want to see me at 10 o'clock. They're saying there are questions about my expense reports and some anonymous complaint about inappropriate workplace relationships." I took a sip of my coffee. "That does sound concerning." "You did this." It wasn't a question. "I documented what you did. There's a difference." Paula leaned forward, and I could see her trying to shift into the persuasive mode that had made her so successful in pharmaceutical sales. "Henry, listen to me. If this comes out at work, it won't just hurt me. It'll hurt both of us. Do you know what kind of settlement I could get if I lose my job over this? Do you know how much my salary contributes to our lifestyle?" "Our lifestyle," I repeated. "You mean the lifestyle where you spend company money on romantic weekends with your boyfriend while I work 60-hour weeks to pay the mortgage?" "It wasn't like that." "It was exactly like that." I stood up and rinsed my coffee mug in the sink. "And in about 2 hours, your HR department is going to know exactly what it was like." Paula's composure finally cracked completely. "You're going to ruin everything," she screamed. 15 years of marriage, and you're going to throw it all away because you can't handle the fact that I found someone who actually appreciates me." I turned around to face her. "Paula, you threw it away the first time you lied to me about working late. I'm just making sure everyone knows who did the throwing." She was crying again, but these weren't the desperate tears from last night. These were tears of rage and frustration. "What do you want?" she asked. "What's it going to take to make this stop?" "It's not going to stop," I said quietly. "This is just the beginning." I left her sitting at the kitchen table and went upstairs to get dressed for work. As I was knotting my tie, I could hear her on the phone again, her voice getting more and more frantic with each call. My phone buzzed with another text from Marina. "Evan didn't come home last night. His car isn't in the driveway. I think he might be panicking." I texted back, "Good. Panic makes people sloppy." Her response came immediately. "I like the way you think. Coffee later?" I was beginning to like Marina Cross quite a bit. She had the same calculating intelligence that I'd always prided myself on, but she wielded it with a precision that was almost artistic. Last night, she could have screamed and thrown accusations around like Paula did. Instead, she'd sat calmly at my dining room table and let the evidence speak for itself. By the time I got to the office, word had already started to spread. Randy was practically vibrating with excitement when I walked in. "Henry, you're not going to believe this," she said, following me into my office. "That woman from PharmaCorp called again, but this time she was crying. Actually crying on the phone, and then some guy called looking for you, said his name was Evan something. He sounded really angry." "Did he leave a message?" "He said to tell you that you're making a big mistake and that you don't know who you're messing with." Randy paused. Henry, what's going on? This isn't about some property lease, is it? I sat down at my desk and turned on my computer. Randy, do you remember that conversation we had a few months ago about discretion being the better part of valor? Yeah? This would be one of those times. She nodded, but I could see the curiosity burning in her eyes. Randy had worked for me for 3 years, and she had an almost supernatural ability to sniff out office drama. She was also completely loyal and had a talent for making sure information flowed in whatever direction I needed it to flow. But if you need anything, she said carefully, you know I'm here, right? Actually, there is something you could do for me, I said. I need you to make some calls to our contacts at the other commercial real estate firms in town. Just casual conversation, but I want you to listen for any gossip about PharmaCorp, specifically about any personnel issues or HR investigations. Randy's eyes lit up. I can do that. And Randy, if anyone asks, you don't know anything about anything. Got it, boss. Around 11 o'clock, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Paula's number. What? Henry, you have to call them off. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Please. They're asking me questions I can't answer. They have copies of everything. Hotel receipts, credit card statements, even photos from the security cameras at that place in Burlington. I can't call off the truth, Paula. This is going to destroy me. Yes, I said. It probably will. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. I never thought you had it in you, she said finally. Neither did I admitted. Turns out we were both wrong about a lot of things. After I hung up, I sat back in my chair and looked out the window at the busy street below. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe properly. The knot of anxiety that had been living in my chest since I'd first suspected Paula's affair was finally starting to loosen. My phone buzzed with a text from Marina. Evan just called me. He wants to meet tonight to discuss the situation. I told him I'd think about it. Want to join me? I typed back, absolutely, where and when. Murphy's Bar on State Street, 8 o'clock. This should be interesting. I smiled and put my phone away. Marina was right. This was going to be very interesting indeed. Murphy's Bar was exactly the kind of place where people went to have conversations they didn't want overheard. Dark wood paneling, dim lighting, and a bartender who'd perfected the art of selective deafness over 30 years of serving drinks to people with secrets. I arrived at 7:45 and found Marina already seated in a corner booth, nursing what looked like a gin and tonic. She'd changed from her composed suburban housewife look into something more businesslike, a sharp black blazer that made her look like she was ready for war. He's not here yet, she said as I slid into the booth across from her. Nervous? Excited, she corrected. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. I ordered a whiskey and studied Marina's face in the dim light. How long have you known? About the affair? 6 months. About Paula specifically? 3 months. She took a sip of her drink. I hired the same private investigator you did. Small world. Why didn't you confront them sooner? Marina smiled, and there was something predatory about it. Because I wanted to make sure I had everything. Every lie, every stolen moment, every dollar Evan spent on her that should have gone to our household. I wanted it all documented and verified before I made my move. And now? Now I have everything I need to take him apart piece by piece. The door opened, and Evan Cross walked in. I recognized him immediately from the photos the private investigator had taken. Tall, well-dressed, with the kind of artificially confident bearing that came from years of middle management success. He spotted Marina immediately and headed toward our booth, his face already flushed with anger. What the hell is this? He demanded, looking back and forth between Marina and me. Who is this guy, Marina? What's he doing here? Sit down, Evan, Marina said calmly. I'd like you to meet Henry Dalton, Paula's husband. Evan's face went white. He looked at me like I was a loaded gun pointed at his chest. You, he said quietly. You're the one who sent those documents to HR. Actually, that was me, Marina said. Henry was kind enough to share his evidence with me, and I felt it was my civic duty to make sure PharmaCorp knew what kind of employees they had on their payroll. Evan slumped into the booth next to Marina, suddenly looking much older than his 42 years. Do you have any idea what you've done? Do you know what this is going to cost me? Hopefully everything, I said. He turned to look at me, and I could see real fear in his eyes. Look, Henry, I know you're angry. I get it. If I were in your position, I'd be angry too. But this has gotten way out of hand. We need to find a way to contain this before it destroys all of us. Contain it how? Paula and I, we can end things. Clean break, no more contact. You and Marina can work out your divorces however you want, but we don't have to burn down everyone's careers in the process. Marina laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Oh, Evan, you still don't get it, do you? Get what? This isn't about the affair, she said. This is about 15 years of you treating me like I'm too stupid to notice when money goes missing from our accounts. This is about you lying to my face every single day while you played house with your little pharmaceutical princess. This is about you making me feel crazy for asking questions when I knew something was wrong. Evan's face was getting redder by the minute. Marina, you're being dramatic. We can work through this. We can go to counseling. We can go to hell, she said sweetly. Both of you. I was starting to understand why Marina had wanted me here. This wasn't just about confronting Evan. This was about making sure he understood that his world was about to collapse completely. What do you want? Evan asked, looking between us desperately. Money? I can write you a check right now. Just tell me what it's going to take to make this go away. It's not going away, I said. Your girlfriend destroyed my marriage. Now I'm going to return the favor. Evan leaned forward, and I could smell the desperation on him like cheap cologne. Henry, listen to me. You seem like a reasonable guy, a businessman. Let's make a deal. I'll pay for your divorce, cover all the legal fees. I'll even throw in something extra for your trouble, but you have to call off whatever dogs you've set loose at PharmaCorp. I can't call off the truth, Evan, just like I told Paula. The truth? Evan's voice was getting louder, and I noticed the bartender glancing in our direction. The truth is that your wife came after me. She pursued me. She's the one who suggested we use company resources for our trips. If anyone's the victim here, it's me. Marina set down her drink with a sharp click. Excuse me? It's true, Evan said, turning to her. Paula was relentless. She practically threw herself at me at that conference in Chicago. I tried to keep things professional, but she wouldn't take no for an answer. I felt something cold and dangerous settle in my chest. Are you seriously trying to blame Paula for your affair? I'm telling you what happened. What happened, I said quietly, is that you're a cheating piece of garbage who got caught. What happened is that you spent months lying to everyone who trusted you. What happened is that you're about to lose everything and you're looking for someone else to blame. Evan's face twisted with anger. You know what? Fine. You want to play hardball? Let's play hardball. I've got friends at PharmaCorp, Henry. Important friends. And I've got dirt on your precious wife that would make your head spin. You think she's some innocent victim in all this? You think she wasn't bragging about how easy it was to manipulate her boring husband? The words hit me like a physical blow, but I kept my expression neutral. Is that supposed to hurt my feelings, Evan? She used to laugh about you, he continued, clearly encouraged by what he thought was a successful attack. About how you had no idea what was going on right under your nose. About how you were so pathetic that she actually felt sorry for you. Marina reached across the table and put her hand on mine. Henry, don't listen to him. He's just trying to hurt you because he knows he's finished. But I was already standing up. Evan looked up at me with a mixture of fear and defiance. You're right about one thing, I said quietly. I was pathetic. I spent months making excuses for Paula's behavior instead of facing the truth. I let both of you make a fool out of me. Evan's expression shifted to something that might have been smugness. So you admit? But that stops now, I continued. Because tomorrow morning, I'm going to make some phone calls. I'm going to call every pharmaceutical company in the region and let them know about the kind of ethical standards you and Paula maintain. I'm going to call the Better Business Bureau and file complaints about PharmaCorp's expense account policies. And I'm going to make sure that everyone in this industry knows exactly what kind of people you are. Evan's smugness evaporated. You can't do that. That's defamation. That's documentation, Marina said, pulling out her phone. And speaking of documentation, I should mention that I've been recording this entire conversation. Evan's mouth fell open. You can't. That's illegal. Actually, it's not, I said. This is a one-party consent state. Marina can record any conversation she's part of. Including the part where you just admitted that you and Paula use company resources for personal trips? Marina added helpfully. I'm sure PharmaCorp's legal department will find that very interesting. Evan looked back and forth between us like a trapped animal. This is insane. You're both insane. You can't destroy my entire life over one mistake. One mistake? Marina's voice was quiet. Evan, you've been cheating on me for 6 months. You've been stealing from our joint accounts to pay for hotel rooms and fancy dinners. You've been lying to me every single day. That's not one mistake. That's a lifestyle choice. And it's a lifestyle choice that's about to have consequences, I added. Evan stood up abruptly, knocking over his untouched beer in the process. Fine. You want to play this game? Let's play. But don't think you're going to walk away from this unscathed. I know people, Henry, important people, and when I'm done with you, you'll be lucky to get a job managing a gas station." "Is that a threat?" Marina asked, still recording. Evan looked at her phone, then at me, then back at her phone. The fight seemed to go out of him all at once. "This isn't over," he said quietly. "Yes, it is," I replied. "You just don't know it yet." After Evan left, Marina and I sat in silence for a few minutes, listening to the ambient noise of the bar around us. "How do you feel?" she asked finally. I thought about it. "Hungry," I said. "I haven't eaten since breakfast." Marina smiled. "I know a place. My treat." As we walked out of Murphy's bar together, I realized that for the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about Paula or the affair or the divorce. I was thinking about what came next, and for the first time in a very long time, I was looking forward to finding out. The next 3 weeks passed in a blur of phone calls, legal meetings, and watching Paula's carefully constructed world crumble in real time. Marina and I had become an unlikely team, coordinating our efforts with the precision of a military operation. Paula had been placed on administrative leave pending PharmaCorp's investigation. Evan had been quietly transferred to a different division, effectively ending his chances for the promotion he'd been bragging about to anyone who would listen. But that was just the beginning. I was sitting in my office on a Thursday morning when Randy knocked on my door. "Henry, there are some people here to see you." "People?" "Your friends Mike and Jennifer Patterson, and Tom Bradley. They look—" She paused, searching for the right word. "Upset." I felt my stomach tighten. Mike and Jennifer had been our closest friends for over a decade. Tom had been my best man at my wedding. I'd been avoiding their calls for weeks, knowing this conversation was inevitable. "Send them in," I said. Mike walked in first, followed by Jennifer and Tom. The expressions on their faces ranged from concerned to openly hostile. "Henry," Mike said without preamble, "we need to talk. Have a seat." "We'd rather stand," Jennifer said coldly. "This won't take long." I leaned back in my chair and waited. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Tom exploded. "Do you have any idea what you've done to Paula? She's completely destroyed. She can't even leave the house without people staring at her." "People are staring because she's been sleeping with a married man and using company money to do it," I said calmly. "That's between you and her," Jennifer snapped. "You didn't have to humiliate her publicly. You didn't have to destroy her career." "Actually, I think I did." Mike stepped forward, his face flushed with anger. "Paula made a mistake, Henry. One mistake. And you've turned it into a public execution. That's not the man we thought we knew." "The man you thought you knew was an idiot who didn't realize his wife was making a fool of him for 6 months," I said. "I decided I didn't want to be that man anymore." "So you decided to become a vindictive bastard instead?" Tom asked. I stood up slowly. "Tom, did Paula tell you it was one mistake?" "She told us she had an affair. She told us she regretted it and wanted to work things out with you." "Did she tell you about the fake business trips? Did she tell you about the company credit card she used to pay for hotel rooms? Did she tell you about the lies she told HR about her relationship with Evan to cover up the ethics violations?" Tom's certainty wavered slightly. "She said it was complicated." "It's not complicated," I interrupted. "She's been systematically lying and cheating for months. She destroyed our marriage, she violated her company's policies, and she did it all while making me look like an idiot to everyone who knows us." Jennifer crossed her arms. "So your solution was to destroy her life?" "My solution was to stop pretending that what she did was acceptable." "Henry," Mike said, his tone shifting to something that might have been pleading, "we've all been friends for 10 years. We've been through everything together. Are you really going to throw all of that away?" "I'm not throwing anything away," I said, "but I'm also not going to pretend that Paula is the victim here." "She's our friend too," Jennifer said. "We care about her, and right now she needs support, not judgment." "Then support her," I said. "But don't expect me to pretend that what she did was okay just to make everyone comfortable." Tom shook his head. "This isn't about making anyone comfortable. This is about you being cruel. Paula screwed up, but she doesn't deserve to have her entire life destroyed over it." "What would you do, Tom?" I asked quietly. "If you found out Sarah had been cheating on you for 6 months, lying to your face every day, spending your money on another man, what would you do?" "I'd try to work it out," he said immediately. "I'd go to counseling. I'd try to save my marriage." "Even if she showed no remorse? Even if she blamed you for driving her to cheat? Even if she called you pathetic and boring behind your back?" Tom's mouth opened and closed without sound. "That's what I thought," I said. Jennifer stepped forward. "Henry, listen to me. We're worried about you. This isn't like you. You're not a vindictive person. You're not someone who destroys people for revenge." "Maybe I should have been," I said. "Maybe if I'd been less accommodating, less willing to make excuses, Paula wouldn't have felt so comfortable lying to me." "So this is who you are now?" Mike asked. "The guy who ruins lives when things don't go his way?" "This is who I am when someone tries to make me look like a fool," I corrected. "And if that makes you uncomfortable, you're welcome to choose not to associate with me." The three of them exchanged glances. I could see the decision forming in their eyes before anyone spoke. "Maybe we should take some time apart," Jennifer said carefully, "until you've had a chance to think about what you're doing." "Maybe we should," I agreed. After they left, I sat alone in my office for a long time. Losing Mike, Jennifer, and Tom hurt more than I'd expected. They'd been part of my life for so long that I couldn't imagine social gatherings without them. But I also felt a strange sense of relief. For weeks, I'd been dreading this conversation, knowing that eventually I'd have to choose between maintaining my friendships and maintaining my self-respect. Now the choice had been made for me. My phone buzzed with a text from Marina. "How are you holding up?" I typed back, "Better than expected? Coffee?" "Always. Usual place in 20 minutes?" The usual place had become a small cafe near the courthouse where Marina and I had been meeting regularly to coordinate our legal strategies. We'd developed an easy friendship based on mutual respect and a shared appreciation for methodical revenge. I found her already seated at our regular table, scrolling through her phone with a satisfied expression. "Good news?" I asked, sitting down across from her. "The best," she said, turning her phone so I could see the screen. "Evan's been terminated." I felt a surge of satisfaction. "Official reason?" "Violation of company ethics policies, misuse of company resources, inappropriate workplace relationships," she smiled. "The holy trinity of corporate firing." "What about severance?" "None. When you're terminated for cause, you don't get a golden parachute." I ordered coffee and settled back in my chair. "How's he taking it?" "About as well as you'd expect. He called me this morning, screaming about how I'd ruined his life and destroyed his career. I reminded him that he'd done that all by himself. I just made sure the right people found out about it." "Any word on Paula?" Marina's expression grew more serious. "That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about. I heard through a friend of a friend that she's been reaching out to people, trying to drum up sympathy, telling people that you've been abusive, that you're trying to destroy her out of spite." I wasn't surprised, but it still stung. "Anyone believing her?" "Some people. The ones who don't know the whole story." Marina leaned forward. "Henry, I think she's planning something. Some kind of counterattack." "Like what?" "I don't know yet. But Evan mentioned something about fighting back when he called this morning. He said they weren't going to just roll over and let us destroy them." I sipped my coffee and considered this. "Let them try. We have documentation of everything they did. What do they have?" "Desperation," Marina said. "And desperate people do stupid things?" She was right, of course. But I was beginning to realize that I was looking forward to whatever Paula and Evan might try. For months, I'd been reactive, always one step behind, always trying to catch up to their lies. Now I was ahead of them, and I intended to stay that way. "Let them come," I said. "I'm ready." Marina smiled, and I was struck again by how much I'd come to appreciate her ruthless intelligence. "I was hoping you'd say that, because I have an idea." "I'm listening." "What if we didn't wait for them to make their move? What if we made one more move of our own, something big enough to end this once and for all?" "What did you have in mind?" Marina pulled out a folder I hadn't noticed before and slid it across the table. "Remember how I told you I'd been documenting everything for 6 months? Well, it turns out Evan and Paula weren't just having an affair. They were planning to leave their spouses and start their own pharmaceutical consulting firm, using client lists and proprietary information from PharmaCorp." I opened the folder and started reading. Email conversations about stealing client data, plans to poach PharmaCorp's biggest accounts, detailed financial projections based on information that clearly belonged to their employer. "This is corporate espionage," I said quietly. "At minimum, possibly industrial theft, depending on how the prosecutors want to handle it." I looked up at Marina. "You want to turn them in to the authorities?" "I want to finish what we started," she said. "No half measures, no leaving loose ends. I want to make sure they never have the opportunity to hurt anyone else the way they hurt us." I closed the folder and met her eyes. "When?" "Tomorrow. I've already spoken to a contact at the district attorney's office. They're very interested in what we have to show them." I thought about Paula, probably sitting at home right now, planning her next move, still believing she could manipulate her way out of the consequences of her actions. I thought about Evan, no doubt plotting some kind of revenge against Marina and me. "Let's do it," I said. Marina's smile was sharp and satisfied. "I was hoping you'd say that too." The meeting with the district attorney's office took place on a Friday morning in a sterile conference room that smelled of industrial coffee and legal documents. Marina and I sat across from Assistant District Attorney Sarah Chen and Detective Robert Walsh, watching as they reviewed the evidence we'd brought. "This is quite comprehensive," Ada Chen said, flipping through the folder of emails and financial documents. "How long did you say they'd been planning this?" "At least 4 months," Marina replied. "Possibly longer. These are just the communications I was able to recover from Evan's computer." Detective Walsh looked up from the laptop where he'd been reviewing the digital evidence. "Mrs. Cross, I have to ask, how did you obtain access to your husband's computer?" "It's our shared home computer," Marina said smoothly. "I have every legal right to access files on equipment I helped purchase." "And Mr. Dalton, how did you come by the financial records?" "My wife and I share several credit cards and bank accounts. I noticed unusual charges and investigated." Ada Chen nodded. "The evidence certainly suggests a pattern of corporate theft and conspiracy to commit fraud. We'll need to verify the authenticity of these documents with PharmaCorp's legal department, but assuming everything checks out, we'll likely be filing charges within the week." After we left the courthouse, Marina and I walked to the parking garage in comfortable silence. I felt oddly calm, like a weight I'd been carrying for months had finally been lifted. "How do you feel?" Marina asked as we reached our cars. "Like it's finally over," I said. "It's not over yet," she warned. "Paula and Evan are going to fight this. They're going to claim they're being framed, that we're making false accusations out of spite. Let them claim whatever they want. We have the evidence." Marina smiled. "Yes, we do." I was halfway home when my phone rang. Paula's number appeared on the display. "What do you want, Paula?" "Henry, we need to talk, now." Her voice was tight with barely controlled panic. "I thought we established that our conversations were over. Please, I'm begging you. Just give me 5 minutes. There are things you don't understand, things I need to explain." Something in her tone made me curious. "What things?" "Not over the phone. Can you meet me somewhere? Anywhere. Just 5 minutes." I thought about it. "Murphy's Bar, 20 minutes. "Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much." I called Marina as I drove toward the bar. "Paula wants to meet. She sounds desperate." "It's probably a trap," Marina warned. "She's probably going to try to record you saying something incriminating. Then I'll be careful what I say." "Henry, maybe this isn't a good idea. We're so close to finishing this. Don't give her an opportunity to complicate things." "I won't," I promised. "But I want to hear what she has to say." I arrived at Murphy's Bar to find Paula already there, sitting in the same booth where Marina and I had confronted Evan 3 weeks earlier. She looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed, her clothes wrinkled, and she had the hollow-eyed look of someone who hadn't been sleeping. "Thank you for coming," she said as I sat down across from her. "You have 5 minutes." Paula took a shaky breath. "Henry, I know you hate me. I know you think I'm a terrible person, and maybe I am, but I need you to know that I never meant for things to go this far." "What things?" "The affair, the lies, all of it." She leaned forward, and I could see tears starting to form in her eyes. "It started as just, I don't know, excitement. Something different. Evan made me feel special, made me feel like I was more than just someone's wife." "You are more than someone's wife," I said. "You're also someone's employee, and you violated your company's trust. I know I screwed up. But Henry, what you and Marina are doing, it's going to destroy more than just Evan and me." "What are you talking about?" Paula pulled out her phone and showed me a news article. The headline read, "Local pharmaceutical company under investigation for corporate theft." "It hit the news this morning," she said. "PharmaCorp's stock is down 12%. They're talking about layoffs. Hundreds of people are going to lose their jobs because of what you've done." I read the article quickly. It mentioned an ongoing investigation, but didn't name Paula or Evan specifically. "That's not because of what I've done," I said. "That's because of what you and Evan did. Henry, please. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not even asking you to take me back. I'm asking you to have mercy. Call off the investigation. Tell them you made a mistake, that the evidence was misinterpreted. Please." I looked at Paula's tear-streaked face and felt nothing. No anger, no pity, no residual love, just a cold, empty satisfaction. "No," I said quietly. "Henry?" "No, Paula. You made your choices. You chose to lie to me every day for 6 months. You chose to steal from your company. You chose to plan a future with another man while pretending to be my wife. Now you get to live with the consequences." Paula's desperation turned to anger. "Fine. You want to play hardball? Let's play hardball. I know things about you too, Henry. Things that could make your life very difficult." "Like what?" "Like the fact that you've been colluding with Marina Cross to destroy Evan and me. Like the fact that you've been sharing confidential information with her. Like the fact that this whole thing is a conspiracy between two bitter spouses who wanted revenge." I smiled. "Paula, everything Marina and I have done has been completely legal. We've shared evidence of crimes that you and Evan committed. That's not conspiracy, that's civic duty." "The district attorney won't see it that way when I tell them how you've been manipulating evidence and coordinating your stories." "Tell them whatever you want," I said, standing up. "But make sure you tell them from a jail cell, because that's where you're going to be." As I walked away, Paula called after me. "This isn't over, Henry. You think you've won, but this isn't over." I didn't turn around. The next Monday morning, I woke up to find news vans parked outside my house. My phone was buzzing with calls from reporters, lawyers, and people I hadn't heard from in years. The story had exploded over the weekend. Paula Dalton and Evan Cross arrested on charges of corporate espionage, conspiracy to commit fraud, and theft of proprietary information. PharmaCorp had filed a civil lawsuit seeking millions in damages. The pharmaceutical industry was buzzing with speculation about how deep the corruption went. I got dressed and walked outside to face the cameras. "Mr. Dalton," a reporter called out, "how does it feel to know that your actions led to the arrest of your own wife?" "My actions?" I said, stopping on my front steps. "I didn't steal proprietary information. I didn't plan to defraud my employer. I didn't lie to everyone who trusted me. I simply made sure the right people knew about crimes that had been committed." "Some people are saying this was an act of revenge," another reporter said. I looked directly into the camera. "Some people would be right. My wife destroyed our marriage and violated her professional ethics. She and her lover thought they could get away with it because they believed I was too weak and too stupid to fight back. They were wrong." "Do you have any regrets about how this has played out?" I thought about the question for a moment. Did I regret losing my friends? Did I regret the public spectacle? Did I regret the fact that Paula was probably going to prison? "No," I said finally. "I don't have any regrets at all." That afternoon, Marina called me. "Have you seen the news?" she asked. "Hard to miss it." Evan's lawyer is trying to negotiate a plea deal. Apparently, he's willing to testify against Paula in exchange for a reduced sentence. I wasn't surprised. Evan had struck me as the type of man who would throw anyone under the bus to save himself. What about Paula? Her lawyer says she's going to fight the charges. She's claiming she was manipulated by Evan, that she didn't know what she was doing was illegal. Think it'll work? Not a chance. We have too much evidence of her active participation. I hung up and sat in my kitchen, looking out at the reporters still camped on my lawn. In a few hours, they'd get bored and move on to the next story. Paula and Evan would go to trial, probably be convicted, and disappear into the prison system, and I would finally be free to start over. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You destroyed my life, but I'm going to make sure you pay for it. This isn't over." I deleted the message without responding. Paula was wrong, as usual. It was over. I'd made sure of that. 6 months later, Paula was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. Evan got 18 months in exchange for his cooperation. PharmaCorp settled their civil lawsuit for an undisclosed amount that was rumored to be in the 8-figure range. I sold the house and moved to a different city where nobody knew my story. I started my own commercial real estate firm and, within a year, was more successful than I'd ever been working for someone else. Marina and I stayed in touch. She'd moved to Florida and started a consulting business helping companies investigate internal fraud. We'd both found ways to turn our experience with betrayal into something profitable. Sometimes people ask me if I ever think about Paula, if I ever wonder how she's doing in prison. The truth is, I don't. She made her choices, and I made mine. The difference is, I can live with the consequences of what I did. Paula destroyed our marriage because she thought I was too weak to fight back. She was wrong about that, just like she was wrong about so many other things. In the end, the villain always gets the last word. And my last word to Paula Dalton is this: you underestimated me, and it cost you everything.